It was announced last night that UFC 323 will be held in Las Vegas on December 6th. Listen, this is nothing new. They hold a card in Las Vegas every December, it seems like. So it is my job and it is our job as a collective community to figure out, I definitely said that word wrong, to figure out who will be fighting on this card. Now, listen, I am a sick individual. You know, I'm pushing through for the love of the game. We will be doing copious amounts of drugs when Charles Oliveira wins tonight, so I'll see all of you at the after party. Either way, the next pay per view is Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane, right? So there are a couple of people eliminated just based on this pay per view, right? There is is it flyweight or strawweight? There is a something weight elimination bout, or not elimination bout, it's like the vacant title or some shit between Mackenzie Dern and Verna Jandaroba. Not watching that fight. And then Cyril Gane and Tom Aspinall in the main event. So those are two title fights that are out as main events for 323. If we go to 322, we have JDM and Islam at welterweight, so that eliminates those guys. And then it also eliminates both Zhang Weili and Valentina Shevchenko from headlining the card in December, which I had a sneaking suspicion that was what they were planning to do, but they moved against it. It's all good. We'll respect it. So that leaves us with a set amount of people. We need to look at the rankings to decide, okay, who is still available, who is not being booked currently, who is going to headline that card. In my opinion, it will be one of these three weight classes here that will headline the card, and you'll come to find out it's actually two of them. Listen, flyweight, Alexandre Pantoja and Joshua Van could very easily headline a pay-per-view card. I don't think people will be that upset with that as a main event. You know what I mean? I mean, Pantoja and Asakura was a main event. Marab could get back in there with Piotr Jan in December. It seemed like Dana White was interested. Piotr Jan was interested. It doesn't seem like these things tend to come to fruition when they talk about them, but there's potential there for Marab to step in again in December and fight Piotr. I don't know if that's going to really happen, but I don't know. I feel like the UFC tends to have things planned in advance, so I think that'll mess things up. And then at featherweight, Alexander Volkanovski has been without a fight since April. We've had some guys make their names, apparent for the belt. So I think that you have a couple of guys who are ready for that title shot if Volk wants to step in before the end of the year. Now, what I think is going to happen, and I'm going to go through the entire pay-per-view, like the 5 fights on the main card, I honestly believe that this is pretty realistic. Like at the end of the day, you can comment like, "Oh, like fucking no chance that any of these fights happen. You're a loser. Your family hates you. Like, whatever it is, right?" I believe solely from the bottom of my heart that the main event of UFC 323 is going to be Volk and Lerone Murphy. Listen, I like Diego Lopez. I just hate this recency stuff where the latest contender to win is always the one that gets the title shot. I don't really agree with that. Lerone Murphy has beat a lot of people. He's very skilled. I think he poses a legitimate threat to Volkanovski. And Diego Lopez looked good, but it's not like the same shit that he was getting caught with Volk. He wasn't getting caught with Gene Silva. Gene Silva was beating the dog shit out of Diego Lopez in round 2 until he walked onto that spinning elbow. Um, and Volk would have done the same thing again if they fight. He's obviously got to avoid the big shots, which will be an issue a second time. But it's not a refreshing challenge for Volk. I think it will play out very similarly. In fact, he might win more dominantly. I think the more time you spend with Volk in a cage, probably the worse it is for you, except for Islam, who took Volk on short notice. But Lerone Murphy is a serious threat, man. Listen, I just still don't like his finishing potential on the feet. He landed a perfect spinning elbow, 1 in a million on Pico, walking right into it. But in terms of the punching power, he is none. The kicks aren't that fat, or aren't that strong, rather. They're pretty fast. He's just very technical, very Leon Edwards-esque. How many times do you see Leon hurt people on the feet? Not that often, except for Usman. Um, I think it's a interesting technical matchup. I think it's what the UFC is going to do. I don't know what the hell Movsar Evloev has been doing for the last year now. He needs to fight somebody. I get that he deserves it, and he does. His resume is better than any of the other two guys. They should do Movsar and Yair. Just fucking have Movsar submit Yair first round easy. Get him a finish to bolster his resume. Let's get him in the picture too while we're at it. I think if they do Lerone Volk as the main event, what will the co-main event be of this fight card, you ask? Joshua Van and Alexandre Pantoja. Listen, I think this is very realistic. I think this is legitimately going to be what they announce in December. Um, I think that Joshua Van poses a legitimate threat to Pantoja. I will say this: as much as I love Pantoja or Van, Pantoja's a miles better grappler than anybody Joshua Van has faced. He just had to sprawl. He's a very good sprawl, but he really has only fought Ray Saruya in terms of grapplers, and Cody Durden kind of took him down and did his thing for a round. Um, I think that with Joshua Van, he's going to need to land something early to throw Pantoja off, or he needs to goad Pantoja into a striking battle. Cardio wise, Joshua Van is going to be better than Pantoja. It's a sneaky aspect of Pantoja's game that people don't talk about. I don't think Pantoja's cardio is that good. If you watch back the Steve Urseg fight, if you watch back the Brandon Moreno fight at 290, his cardio is worse than his opponent's most of the time. He is fine for 5 rounds, but he's not otherworldly. Joshua Van does not get tired, to what I can tell. He's a small Myanmarian man. He goes forward. He's got the Chief Keef walkout music. We fuck with that. Um, I think this co-main event makes sense. If I had a prediction, I'd take Pantoja. I don't know, man. I think Joshua Van, I would have liked to have seen him fight one more upper tier guy. I think 10-1 is a big jump in competition. He made it happen. He won. I just would like to see one more. I would have liked to have seen him versus a Manel Kopp, a Brandon Moreno, even a Steve Urseg just to really solidify himself. But I like him here. Now we need a featured fight. In my history of watching the UFC, the featured fights they make tend to be based around what the main event weight class is. So if we're at featherweight and we need a featured featherweight fight, feed me a Diego Lopez and Movsar Evloev rematch. Listen, Movsar Evloev has been sitting around, and let me tell you what this guy's been doing while he's been sitting around. Show the fucking thumbnail of what Movsar Evloev has been saying in the sauna recently.
I'm married in 2 weeks. I was 23, she was 17.
Unbelievable stuff from Movsar Evloev. No shame. This guy has openly talked about how, like, you need to marry girls when they're 13 or some shit. Like, I don't know, man. Some of the people over there are interesting. Um, Listen, Diego Lopez isn't down with that. He isn't down with the pedophilia, with the grooming, in a sense. Ask fucking Mavsar Evloev how old his wife was when they got married, or when they met, rather. Interesting stuff. Um, I think Diego Lopez wins this fight in a rematch. Diego's anti-grappling is very good. A lot of submission attempts. I think Mavsar has been out for too long, and I think that the inactivity will cost him here. I think Diego will stay very active, and he knows it's a massive opportunity to rematch Mavsar. He is still ahead of Diego in the rankings, I believe, so it makes a lot of sense. I would love to see this rematch. I think a lot of people would. It's a fun fight, man. Mavsar, here's the thing. He's a boring fucking grappler, but he is in fun fights. I think that's the good thing about boring grapplers, is that you get to hate watch them in fights, so it makes all their fights more entertaining. Like when Corey was landing like shots on Marab, I was genuinely like fucking like praying for Marab to get slimed out. Like I'm doing like rituals in the main room watching this shit. Like I'd be doing the same thing if Diego starts landing shit on Mufsar. Like it just makes it more fun. So I hope Diego wins. I think it's an awesome fight. Now we need a fourth fight. Listen, here's the fucking thing, you guys. I want to fight fucking Michael Venom Page, dude. Dude, here's the fucking thing about Michael Venom Page. Listen, Sean Strickland, honest to God, looks like the guy in the TikToks that's like, I need more beers. Give me more beers. Like that's the shit that like Sean Strickland is the type of guy where, like his kid walks up to him and shows him like a drawing they made in school that day, and he just yells at them for not bringing him another course. You know? Like he's a guy, if you're walking into his house, you better have the 12-pack of fucking Coors Light, or get the fuck out, brother. Like a Hulk Hogan type of fucking impression. Um, I think this fight is really fun, honestly. I had a lot of fun making this fight. I think it's a fight Strickland would take. He wants to get back in the title mix, I get it. But MVP's not that far off. MVP with a good win. Fucking the UFC loves this dude. So he could get up there, and he's running out of time. I think it's a good fight for Strickland to take in the interim while we wait for Fluffy to heal and for Izzy to fucking figure out what he's doing with his life. Um, I think that's a good matchup, man. I think that MVP and Sean is like kind of a weird footwork battle. It could potentially be the worst fight of all time. Same way that Wonder Boy and MVP would be the worst fight that has ever existed. I do believe that MVP, especially if he's trying to work around Strickland's Philly shell, that he will just fucking stare at him for 15 minutes. So potentially the worst fight of all time, but luckily we have three bangers after this to make up for it. We need one final fight on the pay per view before we sign off of here. Listen, there's a man that fought in September. He took zero damage in September. He might have gotten fucking frauded. It is what it is. We want this guy in a war. I want to see this guy versus someone that's going to stand and fucking bang with him. Give me Mauricio Rufy versus Chris Duncan. Shout out the real Apex fans. Chris Duncan's never in a boring fucking fight. He's got that Scottish blood coursing through his veins. Just a different type of animal in there. Nasty guillotine. Not gonna matter because he ain't shooting and Mauricio Rufy ain't shooting. These dudes are gonna scrap it out to open that pay per view. I think every fan that has seen a Chris Duncan fight knows how fun this could fucking be. And it gives Rufy a chance. Duncan has losses, or a loss. I'm not sure if his loss is. And he's high level. I think it's a good name for Rufy to kind of show that he is still at the upper echelon of the division. Because again, Bobby Green by knockout isn't that moving. Neither is James Lontop or Jamie Malarkey. He finally faced a competent grappler, and it showed. So I'd like to see him versus Chris Duncan, who is capable of grappling, but I think that he would stand with Rufy. He's got a lot of pride. Um, and yeah, man, I think that would be an awesome matchup for this pay per view. In terms of the rest of the card, you can throw a fucking Peyton Talbot on there. I think they're saving him for January. But you can throw a Peyton Talbot on there. You can throw a Cody Garbrandt on there if you really want to. The kid likes fighting in Las Vegas. Um, you can throw a bunch of people in there. I'm excited for this card. Hopefully, I think Macy Barber's on here, so I will be too. And shout out Macy Barber, hit me up. Um, but yeah, man, that's an awesome fight. That's an awesome fight card. I hope this is what they do. There's a lot of good matchups out there. People ain't fighting. Shavkat's been sitting on his ass for 25 years. Arnold Allen, where the fuck are you? Yeah, man. I hope you all have a beautiful Saturday. UFC Rio is later today. I've placed about $1 million in parlay. You know me, big fucking baller. Um, they are going to hit too. I'm going to win these parlays. And I will switch up on every single one of you and all my day ones. It is what it is. I will see you on the next video. I post a TikTok sometimes. I post a YouTube short every day. Go show some love to the TikTok, to the YouTube shorts as well. They're doing pretty well, so shout out to you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. We are at over 200 subscribers now, which is really cool. We're going to keep this train rolling as long as we can. What else do I have to say? Charles Oliveira winning by round one guillotine. Don't be surprised when this shit happens. Just witness it and laugh. Um, Beautiful day. And yeah, let's go have ourselves one, boys. I'll see you soon. Peace out.